as you understand that part, bro, I feel like people's is good. My boy Jaspreet sing right now, feel me? We're talking about the K-shaped economy and why your neighbors feel richer than you. My neighbors feel richer than me? What? And you already mindset. The fuck you mean, Jaspreet, man? Damn.
You ever wonder how people keep spending so much money in this economy? Well, we just got some interesting data. Read this from Axios. Spending is being held up by the wealthy, while consumption from the middle and lower income groups continue to fade. This is called a K-shaped recovery because after the pandemic, we have seen some people see their wealth grow like this, while everybody else in America has seen their wealth go down like this. But now, it looks like things are starting to accelerate because we have even more data showing how our economy is shifting. That's why in this video, I want to break down what's happening with this K-shaped recovery and how it can create a potential investment opportunity for you. If you look around, all the economic news says that the American economy is booming. But that's not all. According to the data, Americans are richer than ever because incomes are rising and the job market is booming, so Americans are getting wealthier than ever. And according to the data, people keep spending money like crazy, which confirms that Americans are doing good financially and that the economy is growing. This is what many economists have been publishing. But it looks like now retailers don't agree. Big surprise. For example, Home Depot says customers are putting off larger home improvement projects as stubborn interest rates and worries about the economy fester. Or we can look at Target. Target CEO just stepped down because sales have been dropping and their investors are not happy. Now there's a lot of other reasons that led to the CEO stepping down, but you can...
When investors are not happy, that's actually threatening to the lifeline of your business. Because the investors are the heartbeat of your business.
The idea. And even Walmart has chimed in. Walmart says that Americans are looking for cheaper alternatives, which has been great for Walmart because now people are coming to Walmart, but prices are expected to go up because of tariffs. So we've had all these economists looking at our economic data saying, hey, the economy looks like it's pretty strong. But then you have these retailers that are working with regular people saying, I don't know, it doesn't feel like the economy is strong. And we finally have some clarity as to why, according to the Federal Reserve Bank. And this is where I want to remind you that if you are an investor or want to become an investor, I'll put together a free investing masterclass. So resilient, evidence from description below. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston just published a report on August 13, 2025 titled, Why Has Consumer Spending Remained So Resilient? Evidence from credit card data. Data indicates higher income consumers are driving spending.
Wait, this is a 2025 video, right? Yo, 2 days ago? Damn, it's 2 days. It's 2 days old. So it's definitely a 2025 video. So you're telling me people to this day are thinking like this?
Growth. Turns out the reason
still like consumerism, like driven, like consumeristic minds and consumerist driven.
Why many economists have been saying that the economy is booming and spending is strong is because we have...
But obviously, yeah. The economy booms when people have that kind of mindset, right?
Have this K-shaped recovery going on where the financially savvy and the wealthy have been spending more money, which is making up for everybody else who is feeling poorer in this economy. And this is the reason why it looks like the economy is growing, because some people are spending a whole lot more while some people are cutting back. And this increase in spending by the wealthy has made up for this, which is why all the economic data keeps saying that the economy is booming. Now, all of this might not seem that surprising, but the real question that you want to pay attention to here is, how does this create an investment opportunity? Well, there's a lot of businesses out there that are waiting and praying for lower interest rates because they believe that the cheaper debt is going to make it more accessible for people to go out and spend money. We also know that President Trump has been demanding and asking for lower interest rates. And then most recently, Jerome Powell, who is the chairman at the Federal Reserve Bank, just gave a speech where he said he's considering cutting interest rates starting in September because he's concerned about the job market. That the most recent data from the job market says that the job market hasn't been as good as a lot of people thought, and because of his concerns about the job market, he's now looking at cutting interest rates sooner rather than later. Why does this matter? Because lower interest rates, if and when they happen, will benefit certain companies and certain stocks more than others. And what every financially savvy investor wants to do is invest their money where the economy is growing. And you have a couple different options as to what you can do. Option number one is you can invest your money directly into the United States economy. This is probably the better option for 90 to 95, maybe even 98% of the country. Now, of course, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. I can't tell you what to do. Investing has risks. You're never guaranteed to make money money when you invest.
Facts.
In fact, you will lose money at some point, so make sure you always do your own due diligence.
Damn.
And never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube.
And people never take that disclaimer into consideration, right? That's the diabolical part about it.
But when I say invest your money in the economy, we know that our economy has grown a lot over the next 10 years. And if I can make a prediction, I assume that our economy is going to grow again over the next 10 years. And if you want to gain a piece of that growth in the economy, you can just invest in the stock market. I'm not saying go out and find the next Tesla or find the next Nvidia. I mean, just invest your money into the stock market, because there are funds out there that will give you exposure to the broad stock market, which are essentially giving you exposure to the United States economy. For example, there's an ETF out there titled VTI. VTI gives you exposure to the total stock market. This is a fund created by Vanguard. So if you just wanted to invest in the United States stock market, VTI will give you exposure to that. I'll give you one more example. SPY, SPY. If you wanted to be a little bit more niche, SPY gives you exposure to the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in the stock market. So if you didn't want to invest in the total stock market, you just wanted to invest in the largest companies, SPY will give you exposure to the S&P 500. And so now over the next 10 years, if the economy grows, you will own a piece of that, because these funds will give you exposure to a piece of the United States economy. For some of you who want to get a little bit more niche, who want to get down into the nitty-gritty, this is where now you can pay attention to specific areas that are going to see more potential gains. And this is where I like to call it a market shift. Where is money moving? And there's always places where money is moving, and you want to pay attention to opportunities that could have more potential upside. For example, over the last 10 years, what have we seen happen? We've seen a lot more money flow into things like technology.
That's why I feel like, you know what I'm saying, the real magic comes in, like, if you have a mind that knows how to make your money move for you, aka to make it, you know what I'm saying, work while you sleep on some passive way. I feel like passively is the ultimate way, you know what I'm saying, while you can do other things, you know what I'm saying, at the same time your money grows for you on some tip, you know what I mean. And that's investing it into systems, not necessarily products themselves, but like the systems that make the product, that push the product and make the product have life and have movement, you know. Investing in shit like the supply chain, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. But then again, it's, you know what I mean, it gets tricky when it's like, when we consider the fact that, is it something that you're into though? Because something that you're into will give you that energy to keep going and keep making it, like, keep innovating it and keep, like, you know what I'm saying, keep advancing it so that it can like be more abundant, right, in terms of the fruit that we're expecting out of it, type shit, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, man. Sometimes, like, when I be yapping, I feel like I get too deep for niggas, man. But like, if you agree and if you know, you like what I'm saying, you agree with what I'm saying, give the video a like, man, you know what I mean. Like, drop a comment, you know what I'm saying, wherever you would disagree. Even if you do agree, you feel what I'm saying, give me your POV. You feel me?
Because AI has blown up over the last 10 years. We've seen a lot of money go into sports betting, because 10 years ago, digital sports betting didn't really exist. And so that's what a market shift is. It's knowing where those opportunities are and owning a piece of where the money is going in that piece of the economy. This takes more work, it takes more time, it takes more risk, but it has more potential upside. So if that is something that you're interested in, well, now you want to ask the question, how can these types of changes create opportunity? Well, if we know that interest rates might be going down, that creates opportunity, because certain companies, certain stocks will benefit with lower interest rates. Can we guarantee interest rates are going to go down? No, but if you start to listen to what President Trump is saying, if you start to listen to what the Federal Reserve Bank is saying, you can start to infer that maybe interest rates are going to come down later in 2025. Maybe they're going to come down more in 2026. Of course, anything could happen to change that, but based off of the data that we have today, those are the types of questions you want to be asking. If interest rates do go down, who will benefit? We know that there are some changes and struggles happening in the economy. And we know that there are certain stocks that benefit when there's a recession. We know that there are stocks that benefit when people are struggling in the economy. that can also create an economic opportunity. That's what you want to be thinking about when we're talking about specific areas. This could include ETFs, it can include index fund, it can also include investing in specific companies, but the whole idea is understanding there's this shift happening. This K-shaped recovery has been happening. It looks like it's going to continue to happen, and we know that the inflation problem has not gone away. Well, that's the case. If this is happening and we have a bigger percentage of the country now that is struggling more, they may need to adjust how they spend their money in order to cope with this new economy. If they adjust how they're spending their money, that means certain companies are going to get more money than others. And if those certain companies trade on the stock market, that could create a potential investment opportunity for you. That's the way that I want you to think as an investor, because that's how the financially savvy position themselves to benefit no matter what's happening in the economy. But remember, you have to understand what your investing strategy is, because a lot of people say, I want to be long-term investors, but I have no idea how to read a financial statement.
Yeah, you know, that's where we're trying to get. We're trying to get to that financially savvy position, man. Shout out my boy Jaspreet, you feel me, for sharing the gems.